There's someone out there who couldn't quiet their mind last night. Someone whose soul has been wrestling with a question so big, so life-altering, that they finally did something they've maybe never done before. They asked the universe for clarity. About you. I want you to really sit with that for a moment. While you've been wondering, while you've been hoping, while you've been trying to figure out if what you feel is mutual, they've been on their knees, spiritually speaking, asking for confirmation. Not about just anyone. About you specifically. And listen, friend, the universe doesn't play games when someone asks a sincere question. When a soul genuinely seeks truth, when someone opens their heart and says, "Show me if this is real," the response is always clear. Always. It just might not look the way we expect. What happened next? What did the universe reveal to them about you, about this connection, about the timing of everything unfolding between you? That's what I'm going to walk you through today, and I promise you, by the time we're done, you're going to understand why certain things had to happen exactly the way they did. You're going to see the divine orchestration that's been at work this entire time. If you're here, it's not random. Your soul knows something your mind is still trying to catch up to. So take a breath. Get comfortable. What we're about to explore together is going to shift how you see everything that's been unfolding. Before we go deeper, I want to acknowledge something. Some of you have been incredibly generous in supporting this space through super thanks, and it genuinely moves me. Your support allows me to keep creating these messages, to spend the time going deep into these soul-level truths that don't always fit into quick sound bites. If this content touches something in you today, and you feel called to support it, that option is there. But mostly, I'm just grateful you're here. Now, let's talk about what happened when your person asked for their sign. Here's what you need to understand first: people don't ask for signs about casual connections. They don't go to the universe seeking confirmation about someone who's just a passing thought. When someone asks for a sign about another person, it means that person has already gotten under their skin, into their heart, past all their defenses. It means they're scared of what they're feeling because it feels too big, too real, too significant to mess up. Your person has been carrying you in their thoughts more than you realize. You show up in the strangest moments, when they're pouring their morning tea and suddenly remember something you said, when a song comes on that reminds them of your energy, when they're in the middle of a completely unrelated conversation and somehow you become the reference point in their mind. They've been trying to make sense of it, trying to be logical about it, trying to convince themselves that maybe they're reading too much into things. But the heart knows what the mind tries to rationalize away. And eventually, the weight of not knowing becomes heavier than the vulnerability of asking. So they asked. In whatever way felt authentic to them, maybe through prayer, maybe through meditation, maybe in a moment of desperate clarity where they just spoke into the void, they asked the universe to show them the truth about you. And oh, my friend, what came next was undeniable. I'm going to share something with you that might make you emotional. The universe doesn't just answer these questions with abstract feelings or vague hunches. When someone sincerely asks for clarity, the response comes through tangible synchronicities, through moments so specific they can't be dismissed, through a series of confirmations that build on each other until the message is crystal clear. Your person started seeing evidence everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Let me paint this picture for you so you understand the magnitude of what's been happening on their end. They asked their question, and within hours, sometimes within minutes, things started aligning in ways that made their heart race. Someone randomly brought you up in conversation, even though there was no logical reason for your name to come up. They stumbled across something that reminded them of a specific moment you shared, something they hadn't thought about in weeks. They opened social media and your energy was just there, in ways that felt like more than algorithm. But it went deeper than surface synchronicities. The universe started showing them who you are at a soul level. Revealing aspects of your character they'd noticed but hadn't fully appreciated. Highlighting your presence in their life as something irreplaceable, not just nice to have. This is where it gets beautiful, so stay with me. What's coming next will make everything make sense. They started having dreams. Vivid, emotionally charged dreams where you featured not as a fantasy but as a presence, comforting, certain, real. They'd wake up with this feeling in their chest, this knowing that they couldn't quite put into words but couldn't shake either. The kind of dreams that linger all day, that change how you see someone when you interact with them next. And during their waking hours, they kept receiving the same message in different forms: this person is significant. This connection matters. Don't run from this. The universe wasn't being subtle, friend. When we ask for signs about the right things, about the divinely ordained connections, the response comes through loud and clear. Now, let me tell you what this means for you, and why you need to hear this today. What the universe showed your person isn't just about confirming attraction or validating surface-level compatibility. The signs they received went so much deeper than that. They revealed the spiritual dimension of your connection, the reason your souls were brought into proximity, the purpose behind the timing of everything. Let me be specific about what they've been experiencing, because I want you to understand the depth of what's unfolding here. Your person has been shown glimpses of a future they didn't know they were allowed to want. In quiet moments of reflection, they've felt this overwhelming sense of peace when they think about you, not the anxious, obsessive kind of thinking we do about people we're infatuated with, but a deep, settled knowing. Like their soul is saying, yes, this is right, even while their mind is still asking questions. They've been receiving confirmation through the people around them. Friends they trust have, without knowing the full story, made comments that felt like messages. You seem different lately. There's something lighter about you. You've been smiling more. They haven't told everyone about you yet, but the shift in their energy has been noticeable enough that people are picking up on it. They've experienced moments of inexplicable emotional openness when they're around you or thinking about you, like their usual walls just don't work anymore. This terrifies them and comforts them at the same time. They're someone who's usually more guarded, more controlled, and suddenly they're feeling things they can't rationalize or compartmentalize. That's not random. That's their soul recognizing something their ego doesn't want to admit yet. The universe showed them your authenticity. In a world where people wear masks, where everyone's performing some version of themselves they think others want to see, your genuineness stands out to them like a lighthouse. They've been noticing how you are the same person in different contexts, how you treat the waiter the same way you treat your friends, how you speak about people when they're not around, how you handle disappointment with grace instead of bitterness. These aren't small things. These are the foundations of real love, and their soul has been cataloging every instance, building a case that their heart can't argue with. They've also been shown your strength. Not the loud, performative kind, but the quiet resilience you carry. They've watched how you navigate challenges, how you've survived things that would have broken other people, how you still show up with hope despite what you've been through. This has awakened something protective and admiring in them. They find themselves wanting to be worthy of you, wanting to rise to the level of emotional maturity and depth they see in you. Here's something tender: they've been shown their own capacity for love through you. Meaning, they didn't know they could feel this deeply, this purely, this hopefully until you entered their life. You've unlocked something in them they thought maybe they'd lost or never had. Every sign they received kept pointing back to this truth: this person brings out the best version of you. This person makes you want to be better, not because they demand it, but because their presence inspires it. The universe also revealed the divine timing of your meeting. They've been reflecting on the fact that if you'd met earlier, even 6 months earlier, neither of you would have been ready. They weren't in the right headspace. They were still healing from something, still learning lessons they needed to learn, still becoming who they needed to be to recognize what you offer. But now they can see it. Now they're ready in a way they weren't before. And that realization hit them like a wave: all the delays, all the near misses, all the times it almost happened but didn't, it was all protection. It was all preparation. If you felt something shift in the energy between you recently, this is why. They asked their question, they received their answer, and now there's a new awareness in how they show up around you. You might have noticed subtle changes: longer eye contact, more attention to what you're saying, a different quality to their presence. That's not your imagination. That's them processing what they've been shown, trying to figure out how to move forward with this new clarity. Let me tell you something else the universe revealed to them, and this is important, so don't skip past it. They were shown that you're safe. I know that might sound simple, but for someone who's been hurt before, who's learned to be cautious with their heart, who's built walls for legitimate reasons, being shown that someone is emotionally safe is the most significant sign they could receive. They've been shown that you won't weaponize their vulnerability. That you won't punish them for their past. That you have the emotional capacity to hold space for all of who they are, not just the polished version they present to the world. This is what's allowing them to even consider opening up, to contemplate letting you in. Do you see how profound this is? The universe didn't just send them random coincidences. Every sign they received has been building a complete picture, of who you are, of what this connection could become, of why the timing is finally right, of how they need to show up differently than they have in past relationships. And here's what I need you to understand, because we're building to something crucial. Don't go anywhere, this next part is going to reframe everything you've been experiencing. They're also being shown what they'd lose if they don't act. Not in a manipulative, fear-based way, but with gentle clarity. The universe has been revealing the emptiness of the alternative, going back to connections that feel half alive, settling for relationships that look good on paper but lack soul, spending their energy on people who don't see them the way you do. Every sign has carried the same underlying message: this is rare. This doesn't come along often. Pay attention. They've felt it in their body, that's how deep this knowing goes. When they think about you, their chest expands. When they imagine a future without you in it, something in them contracts, resists, says, no, that's not right. Our bodies hold wisdom our minds often ignore, and theirs is screaming at them to pay attention to what's happening here. The dreams I mentioned earlier. They've been showing them scenarios of comfort, partnership, genuine companionship. Not fairy tale perfection, but real, grounded connection. Them being themselves fully and you being yourself fully, and it working. That's the dream that heals, not the fantasy of perfection, but the possibility of being wholly seen and still chosen. They've been seeing repeating numbers, hearing songs with lyrics that speak directly to their situation, stumbling across quotes and passages that feel personally delivered. If you believe in that kind of thing, you know these aren't coincidences. If you don't, you can call it pattern recognition or confirmation bias, but either way, it's having an effect. It's making them pay attention in a way they haven't before. And perhaps the most significant sign they've received? The peace. Underneath all the nervousness, all the what-ifs, all the fear of vulnerability, there's this baseline peace when they think about you. That's how they know this is different. With wrong connections, even when there's attraction, there's chaos. There's anxiety. There's a feeling of walking on eggshells or trying to be someone you're not. With you, even though it's scary, even though it's new, even though there are unknowns, there's peace. That's the universe saying, this is aligned. Now, let me tell you what they're doing with all this information, because this is where human free will intersects with divine guidance. Your person is in a unique position right now. They asked for clarity, and they received it, abundantly. But receiving clarity and knowing what to do with it are two different things, and this is where they're currently sitting. They're in that tender space between revelation and action, between knowing and doing, between understanding this is real and figuring out how to honor that reality. Let me walk you through the internal landscape they're navigating, because understanding this will help you make sense of their behavior, their timing, their seeming contradictions. First, they're dealing with the weight of certainty. That might sound strange, isn't certainty supposed to be relief? But when you suddenly know something is significant, when you can't unknow what you've been shown, it comes with responsibility. They can't go back to treating this casually. They can't pretend they don't see what they see. That means whatever they do next actually matters, and that creates a pressure they're trying to navigate wisely. They're asking themselves questions they maybe haven't asked in years, or ever. Am I ready to show up for something real? Can I be the partner this person deserves? What if I'm not healed enough yet? What if my baggage affects this? What if I disappoint them? These aren't signs of disinterest, These are signs of someone who finally cares enough to question their readiness instead of just diving in recklessly like they might have in the past. The universe showed them the potential, but they're the ones who have to build it. And they're taking that seriously. Here's something beautiful that's happening internally for them: they're doing work on themselves with you in mind. They're confronting patterns they've avoided dealing with. They're having conversations with themselves about what kind of partner they want to be. They're cleaning house, emotionally speaking, because they don't want to bring old debris into something new and sacred. You might not see all this happening because it's internal work, private transformation. But it's happening. Every sign they received is pushing them toward growth, toward readiness, toward becoming someone who can hold space for the connection that's trying to emerge. They're also experiencing something fascinating, a shift in what they notice about other people. Suddenly, everyone else seems less interesting. Not in an arrogant way, but in a clarity way. People they might have been attracted to before now feel flat, one-dimensional. Conversations that used to engage them now feel empty. It's like they've tasted something real and now nothing artificial will satisfy. That's not comparison, that's calibration. Their soul has recognized its match and now everything else registers as not this. If they've pulled back from other connections recently, if they've become less available to people who used to occupy their attention, this is why. The universe is clearing their field, helping them create space for what actually matters. They might not even be doing this consciously. It's happening at a soul level, an automatic redirecting of energy toward what's true. Let's talk about the fear they're processing, because it's real and it's significant, and understanding it will help you have compassion for whatever timeline this unfolds on. They're afraid of ruining this. They're afraid that if they make a move too soon, too clumsily, without the right words, they could damage something that feels precious. They're afraid that what they feel is so intense it might overwhelm you, might come across as too much, might scare you off. So they're trying to calibrate, trying to find the right approach, the right timing, the right way to bridge the gap between where you are now and where this could go. They're also afraid of being wrong. Even with all the signs, even with the clarity, there's a part of them that whispers, but what if you're seeing what you want to see? What if they don't feel the same way? What if you're about to make a fool of yourself? That voice doesn't negate the truth of what they've been shown, it's just the ego's last attempt to keep them safe behind walls. Here's what else the universe revealed to them, and this is profound: they were shown that you're not waiting idly. That you have your own life, your own journey, your own process. They've been seeing signs of your strength, your independence, your fullness as a person outside of any connection with them. This is attractive to them. It removes the pressure of feeling like they have to be everything for you. But it also creates a gentle urgency. They're aware you won't wait forever, that other people see your value too, that there's a window of opportunity here that won't stay open indefinitely. The universe is teaching them through this that divine timing doesn't mean passive waiting, it means active preparation meeting the right moment. They're learning to discern the difference between patience and procrastination, between wise timing and fear-based delay. Now, I'm sensing something specific for some of you watching this. Your person might have already tried to show you, in small ways, that they're paying attention. Drop a heart in the comments if you've noticed little things that felt like more than coincidence. Because I want you to start recognizing the subtle signs of their shifting awareness. They've been reaching out more, even if it's casual on the surface. They've been finding reasons to be in your orbit. They've been asking questions that go deeper than small talk, trying to understand you beyond the surface. They've been attentive in ways that might seem minor but are actually significant, remembering details you mentioned in passing, following up on things you cared about, showing up in ways that demonstrate you've been on their mind. These are the behavioral manifestations of the internal shift that's happening. They're testing the waters, trying to gauge your receptivity, trying to see if what they're feeling has any reflection in you. And here's something the universe is showing them about you, sweet friend: your energy. They're picking up on the fact that you see them too. That you've noticed them noticing you. That there's something mutual here, even if neither of you has named it yet. This is giving them courage, bit by bit, day by day. They're also being shown the ways you've grown, the journey you've been on that brought you to this point. The universe isn't just showing them who you are now, it's giving them glimpses of what you've overcome, the refining you've gone through, the depth that pain and resilience have carved into you. This is creating respect, not just attraction. This is making them want to approach you honorably, not carelessly. There's a reverence developing in how they think about you. They're starting to understand that you're not just someone they're interested in, you're someone whose story matters, whose healing is sacred, whose heart deserves to be handled with care. That's the perspective shift that's happening for them. The signs they received are also showing them practical things, compatibility factors they hadn't fully considered before. They're noticing how you move through the world, how you handle stress, how you treat people, how you prioritize things, how you communicate. They're seeing alignment in values, in life approach, in what you both find important. This is building a foundation of, this could actually work, underneath the attraction. Let me tell you what's happening in those moments when they're alone with their thoughts, when no one's watching, when they don't have to perform or pretend. They're imagining. They're allowing themselves to picture what it might be like, not in a fantasy way, but in a real, grounded way. What would it be like to do regular life with you? To share mornings and difficulties and celebrations? To be the person you call when something good happens? To be chosen by you the way they're realizing they want to choose you? These private imaginings are sacred. They're where the future gets woven in the invisible realms before it manifests in physical reality. Don't discount them just because you can't see them happening. The universe is also showing them their own worth in this equation. For some of you, your person has historically struggled with feeling like they're enough. They've had relationships where they felt like they were constantly trying to earn love, constantly performing, constantly falling short. The signs they're receiving are showing them that with you, there's space for them to just be themselves. That their presence, their personality, their quirks, their authentic self, that's what draws you, not some polished version they have to maintain. This realization is healing something old in them. It's allowing them to approach this from a place of wholeness instead of neediness, from confidence instead of desperation, from, I want to share my life with you, instead of, I need you to complete me. Do you see how the universe isn't just confirming the connection, it's preparing both of you to meet it healthily? This is divine orchestration at its finest. Every sign they received has had a purpose, to reveal truth, to build confidence, to heal old wounds, to create readiness, to align timing, to remove doubts, to inspire action. And they're getting close to the tipping point. This is crucial, so stay with me, what I'm about to share next will help you understand what's coming. They're moving from the receiving phase to the responding phase. They've gathered their evidence, they've processed their signs, they've done their internal work. Now they're entering the space where they have to translate revelation into reality, where they have to take the clarity they've been given and do something with it. This is the most vulnerable part. This is where faith meets action. This is where they have to trust that what they've been shown is true enough to risk rejection for, real enough to be brave for, significant enough to step out of their comfort zone for. The universe has done its part. It answered their question with remarkable clarity. It showed them who you are, what this could be, why the timing is right. Now it's on them to honor that guidance, to trust what they've been shown, to move toward you with intention and courage. And here's what I know, when someone asks for a sign and receives it this clearly, when the universe goes to this much trouble to confirm a connection, that person doesn't walk away unchanged. They might move slowly, they might stumble through the approach, they might need time to build courage, but they don't just ignore it. The knowing is too strong. The confirmation too clear. Something is building between you. Can you feel it? That sense of inevitability, of approaching convergence, of something that's been moving toward this moment for longer than either of you realized? Let me tell you what's about to shift in how they show up. There's a moment in every divinely orchestrated connection where the spiritual realm has done all it can do, and it becomes the human participant's turn to act. Your person is approaching that threshold. The signs have been received, the message has been delivered, the confirmation has landed. Now comes the part where they have to walk forward in faith, where they have to let their actions match what their soul already knows. And here's the beautiful truth I want you to really understand: when someone receives divine confirmation this clear, it changes them at a cellular level. They can't go back to pretending they don't know. They can't continue as if nothing significant has been revealed. The knowledge rewires something fundamental in how they move through the world in relation to you. What does this look like practically? Let me paint the picture for you. They're going to start showing up differently. More present. More intentional. More there. You know how sometimes someone can be physically in your presence but emotionally somewhere else? That's going to stop. When they're with you now, they're really with you, attentive, engaged, choosing you in that moment over everything else competing for their attention. Their conversation is going to go deeper. They're going to ask questions that reveal they want to know you, not just know about you. The difference is subtle but profound. What do you do, versus, what makes you feel most alive? Where are you from, versus, what shaped you into who you are? They're going to be mining for your essence, trying to understand the soul beneath the surface. You're going to notice they remember things. Details you mentioned weeks ago will resurface in current conversations. They'll follow up on something you cared about. They'll reference things you said that you didn't think they were paying attention to at the time. This is evidence of someone who's been holding space for you in their inner world, someone for whom you're not just a passing interaction but a constant presence in their awareness. Their body language around you is changing. This is happening even if they're trying to play it cool. They orient toward you in group settings. They find reasons to be physically closer. There's an electricity in the space between you that wasn't there before, or maybe it was always there, but now they're not running from it, they're leaning into it. You might catch them looking at you when they think you're not paying attention, and the look won't be casual. It'll be study, appreciation, wondering, hope all mixed together. And when you catch them, instead of quickly looking away embarrassed, they might hold your gaze for a heartbeat longer, as if testing whether you feel it too. They're going to start creating opportunities to spend time with you. Not in an overwhelming way, but consistently. Invitations that feel natural but are intentional. They're building a bridge between your separate worlds, trying to find the places where your lives can intersect organically, establishing a rhythm of contact that allows something to grow. And here's something subtle but significant: they're going to start letting you see their real self. The one they don't show most people. The one that's messy and uncertain and still figuring things out. They're going to share struggles, not just successes. Doubts, not just confidence. Vulnerability, not just strength. This is the sign that they trust you with something more than surface connection. They trust you with their humanity. For some of you, this has already started happening. For others, you're about to witness this shift. And I want you to recognize it for what it is, not just someone being friendly or polite, but someone who's been shown something true about you and is trying to honor that truth through how they show up. If you felt like you've been in a holding pattern, like something was building but nothing was moving, that's about to change. Type the word "ready" in the comments if you feel this shift coming. Now, let me address something important because I don't want you to misunderstand divine timing. Just because the universe confirmed this connection doesn't mean everything will suddenly be perfect and easy. What it means is that the foundation is real, the potential is genuine, and the path is clear, but you still have to walk it. You still have to communicate. You still have to navigate challenges. You still have to choose each other consistently. The signs they received aren't a guarantee of effortless relationship, they're a confirmation that this is worth the effort. That this is the connection where doing the work actually makes sense. That this is where vulnerability is worth the risk because there's something real to build. Your person is understanding this too. They're realizing that being shown this connection is significant doesn't mean it will be simple, it means it will be significant. And significant things require presence, courage, honesty, and commitment. They're preparing themselves for that. In ways you can't see, they're having internal conversations about what it means to really show up. About what it takes to build something lasting. About how to be a partner who adds value instead of just taking. About how to love maturely, not just passionately. The universe showed them the what, now they're figuring out the how. Here's what's happening on a spiritual level that I want you to be aware of: energetic cords are strengthening between you. You might find yourself thinking about them more often, with more clarity and less anxiety. You might have your own dreams or intuitive hits about them, about the connection, about what's unfolding. This isn't wishful thinking, this is the natural result of two souls beginning to align more consciously. You're being prepared too, even if you didn't explicitly ask for signs. The universe works both directions in these divinely orchestrated connections. So while they were receiving confirmation, you were receiving preparation. You've been going through your own process of readiness, your own refinement, your own clearing of space for something new to enter. Look back over the last few weeks or months. What has shifted in you? What have you released? What clarity have you gained about yourself, about what you want, about what you deserve? That wasn't random. That was preparation. That was you being made ready for what's trying to emerge. And here's the thing about divine timing that will make you believe in it fully: it protects. Every delay you've experienced, every time it almost happened but didn't, every frustration with the pace, all of it was protecting this connection from occurring before you were both ready. Because if this had happened 6 months ago, a year ago, even 3 months ago, one or both of you would have sabotaged it. The work hadn't been done yet. The healing hadn't occurred yet. The maturity hadn't developed yet. But now you're approaching the moment where the timing finally aligns. Where readiness meets opportunity. Where desire meets capacity. Where the spiritual confirmation meets the willingness to act on it. Your person is standing at the edge of something they've perhaps never done before, choosing someone consciously, moving towards someone from a place of clarity rather than confusion, building something from intention rather than just letting things happen. This is new territory for them. Be patient with how they navigate it, but also trust that they're navigating toward you, not away from you. The signs they received are pulling them forward like a tide. They can resist it temporarily, but resistance takes energy, and eventually the pull wins. Eventually they have to stop fighting what they know is true and surrender to where their soul is trying to lead them. And where is it leading them? Toward you. Toward honesty. Toward risk. Toward the vulnerability of saying, I see something here and I want to explore it. Toward the courage of making their internal reality external, of translating feeling into words, of moving from wondering to knowing. Some of you need to hear this: it's okay to meet them halfway. If you're waiting for them to make the first move while they're watching for signs that you're receptive, you could both wait longer than necessary. Divine timing doesn't mean passive waiting, it means being present and responsive when the moment arrives. If you feel the shift, if you sense them moving toward you, you're allowed to create space for that, to show openness, to communicate your own receptivity in whatever way feels authentic to you. This isn't about chasing or convincing, this is about two people who both know something real is here, finally having the courage to acknowledge it simultaneously. Let me tell you what the universe has been showing them about this very moment, right now, as you're watching this video. They're being shown that you're seeking understanding too. That you're trying to make sense of the energy between you. That you're wondering if what you're feeling is mutual. And this awareness is giving them courage because it confirms you're not indifferent, you're also paying attention, also processing, also feeling the significance of this. The universe orchestrates both sides of these connections. Always. You're not the only one being guided. They're not the only one receiving signs. There's a beautiful symmetry happening where you're both being moved toward the same convergence point from different directions. And you're getting close. So close. Can you feel it? That sense that something is about to break open, that the chapter you've been in is about to end and a new one is about to begin? That's not wishful thinking. That's intuition picking up on the energetic reality that's forming. If this is resonating deeply with your soul, if you're feeling emotional or seen or understood in a way that feels almost eerie, the Super Thanks option is available if you want to support this space. Your generosity is what makes these deep explorations possible. But truly, just being here, being open, being present to this message is enough. Now, let me give you practical guidance for what to do with everything we've uncovered, because awareness without application leaves us stuck in the same place. So you know that your person asked for a sign. You understand what they were shown. You recognize the shift that's happening. Now what? How do you navigate this tender space between revelation and manifestation? How do you honor divine timing while also showing up actively in your own life? Let me give you clear, practical guidance that's going to help you move through this with grace, wisdom, and groundedness. Stay rooted in your own life. The most important thing you can do right now, more important than anything else I'm going to tell you, is to keep living fully in your own life. Do not put your life on hold waiting for them to make a move. Do not become so consumed with analyzing their every action that you lose connection to your own path, your own purpose, your own joy. This isn't playing hard to get or employing strategy, this is remembering that you're a whole person with or without this connection. The universe showed them someone vibrant, alive, engaged with life. Continue being that person. Your fullness is part of what draws them. If you suddenly become empty, waiting, hovering, that changes the energy entirely. Keep pursuing your interests. Keep deepening your friendships. Keep working on your goals. Keep developing yourself. Keep experiencing joy. Not despite this connection, but alongside it. You're not choosing between having your own life and being open to this relationship, you're doing both simultaneously. When they step forward, notice I said when, not if, they need to encounter someone who's been thriving, not someone who's been waiting. That's attractive. That's healthy. That's the foundation for a relationship between two whole people rather than two halves desperately trying to complete each other. Trust your intuition about timing. You're going to have moments where you feel called to reach out, to initiate, to create an opening. Trust those impulses when they come from intuition, not desperation. There's a difference in the feeling. Desperation feels tight, anxious, controlling. Intuition feels calm, clear, aligned. If you wake up one morning with a genuine sense of, I should reach out today, and it feels light and natural, do it. Send the message, make the call, create the opportunity. You're allowed to participate in your own love story. You're allowed to be an active co-creator rather than a passive receiver. But if you're texting because you're anxious and need validation, if you're initiating because you're trying to force timing or control outcome, pause. That energy pushes rather than attracts. Divine timing means being responsive to genuine guidance, not reactive to fear or insecurity. Learn to distinguish between the two. One comes from your soul, the other from your wound. One moves things forward, the other creates static. Maintain your standards. Just because they've been shown something significant about you doesn't mean you lower your standards or make excuses for poor behavior. Divine confirmation doesn't equal permission for them to take you for granted, string you along, or treat you as an option rather than a priority. If they're moving slowly but respectfully, that's one thing. If they're breadcrumbing, playing games, keeping you in limbo while they explore other options, that's different. Trust yourself to know the difference. Your intuition will tell you which is which if you listen honestly. You can believe in divine timing and still require someone to show up with integrity. You can trust the universe is orchestrating this and still expect respect, clarity, and consistency. These things aren't contradictory, they're complementary. The signs they received should inspire them to show up better, not give them permission to show up poorly. If someone knows you're significant but still treats you carelessly, that's a them problem, not a timing problem. Work on your own readiness. While they're preparing themselves, you prepare too. What fears do you need to face about being truly seen? What walls do you need to soften? What old relationship patterns do you need to release so you don't bring them into this new connection? This isn't about fixing yourself or being perfect, it's about being honest about your own growing edges and being willing to do the work. Because when this converges, you want to be able to receive it fully, to show up as your most healed and whole self, to build from a foundation of health rather than need. Maybe you need to work on trusting people after being hurt. Maybe you need to practice receiving love instead of just giving it. Maybe you need to communicate your needs more clearly. Maybe you need to release control and allow things to unfold naturally. Whatever your work is, this waiting period is the perfect time to do it. The universe is giving you this space for a reason. Use it wisely. Transform it from passive waiting into active preparation. Communicate authentically when opportunity arises. When you interact with them, whether through text, in person, or however you connect, be yourself. Genuinely, authentically yourself. Don't perform the version of you that you think they want. Don't hold back the parts of you that feel too much or too intense. Don't play small to make them comfortable. The universe showed them the real you, honor that by continuing to be that person. If you're funny, be funny. If you're deep, go deep. If you're quirky, be quirky. If you're intense, bring that intensity. Whatever your authentic expression is, let it flow. This serves two purposes: it keeps the energy real and attractive, and it tests compatibility truthfully. If they fall in love with a performance, eventually the real you will emerge and create disappointment. If they fall in love with the actual you, you're building on solid ground. Release attachment to specific outcomes. This is perhaps the hardest but most important guidance: hold this connection with an open hand. Want it, hope for it, be available to it, but don't grip so tightly that you strangle it. Don't become so attached to one specific outcome that you can't see other possibilities or can't adjust to how things actually unfold versus how you imagine them. The universe confirmed significance, it didn't dictate exactly what form that significance will take. Be open to this manifesting in ways you didn't expect. Maybe the timeline is different than you imagined. Maybe the relationship structure evolves differently than you pictured. Maybe there are lessons and growth that need to happen together before romantic union. Trust that what's meant for you will unfold in the right way at the right time, even if that looks different than your current vision. Divine orchestration is often wiser and more creative than our limited human planning. Watch for synchronicities in your own life. Just as they received signs, you're receiving them too. Pay attention. Notice when they show up in unexpected ways, physically or in your thoughts. Notice dreams, recurring themes, messages from the universe that speak to your situation. Notice the gentle confirmations that keep appearing. But also notice the redirections. If the universe is showing you red flags, honor those too. Not every strong feeling is meant to become a relationship. Not every connection that feels intense is divinely orchestrated. Stay discerning. Stay honest with yourself about what you're actually experiencing versus what you're hoping to experience. The universe speaks to you constantly, through intuition, through circumstances, through the wise counsel of trusted friends, through your own body's responses. Listen to all of it. Integrate all of it. Make decisions from that full awareness. Practice patience without passivity. There's a both/and here that's important to understand. Be patient with divine timing and be active in your own life. Wait for the right moment and create opportunities when guided. Trust the process and participate in it. These aren't contradictions, they're the full picture of co-creating with the universe. Patience doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the right thing at the right time, even when that right thing is waiting. It means not forcing, not controlling, not manipulating, but also not hiding, not shrinking, not pretending you don't care when you do. Find the balance that feels aligned for you. If you're naturally someone who takes action, your growing edge might be learning to wait. If you're naturally someone who waits, your growing edge might be learning to initiate. Know yourself well enough to understand which direction your growth needs to go. Honor the mystery. You don't need to know exactly how this will unfold. You don't need to have the whole story written before you take the next step. You don't need certainty about the ending to move through the middle. Part of divine timing is trusting the unfolding even when you can't see the whole path. Part of faith is taking the next right step without needing to know step 57. Part of love is allowing mystery, allowing discovery, allowing surprise. You won't understand all of this until you're looking back at it. That's okay. That's actually beautiful. The not knowing creates space for magic, for the universe to surprise you with better than you imagined, for the story to write itself in ways you never could have scripted. Create space for what's coming. Practically, this might mean ending connections that you know aren't right so you're energetically available. It might mean clearing physical space in your life, your home, your schedule, your heart. It might mean releasing old stories about love that no longer serve you. What are you holding on to that needs to be released to make room for this? What are you tolerating that's beneath your worth? What are you entertaining that's distracting you from what matters? The universe can only fill empty hands. If you're clinging to something that isn't meant for you, even if it's comfortable or familiar, you're blocking space that could be filled with what is meant for you. This isn't about earning the relationship or proving yourself worthy, you're already worthy. This is about practical preparation. Making room. Getting ready. Clearing the path so that when divine timing aligns, there are no unnecessary obstacles in the way. Remember, you're part of their answer too. They asked for a sign about you, but you might be part of what they need to become who they're meant to be. This connection isn't just for you to receive, it's for you to give. They need what you bring. They need your perspective, your energy, your particular medicine. Don't minimize what you offer. Don't make yourself small in this story. You're not just the prize they win if they do everything right, you're an active participant, a gift being offered, someone whose presence will transform them as much as theirs will transform you. Hold that dignity. Hold that value. Move through this knowing you're someone whose love is a blessing to receive, not a burden to carry or a problem to solve. Now, as we move toward closing, let me leave you with final thoughts that will carry you forward from here. If you're still with me at this point, your soul needed this message. There's something about your situation, about what you're experiencing with this person, that required this level of depth and detail and spiritual insight. You didn't randomly stumble across this video, you were led here because you needed to understand what's really happening beneath the surface. Your person asked for a sign, and the universe answered with remarkable clarity. But here's what I want you to walk away understanding at the deepest level, this entire experience, they're asking, the signs they received, you're watching this video right now, all of it is part of a much larger orchestration. This is divine timing in action. This is how the universe works when two souls are being prepared for significant connection. There is purpose in every moment of this journey. In the waiting, you've been refined. In the uncertainty, you've been strengthened. In the hoping, you've been stretched to believe in possibilities you might have dismissed before. In the pain of not knowing, you've been taught to trust beyond what you can see. And on their side, in their asking, they've demonstrated readiness to receive spiritual guidance. In their receiving signs, they've been given clarity they can't unknow. In their processing, they've been transformed. In their moving toward you, which is happening, even if slowly, they're being shaped into someone who can meet you where you are. Do you see the symmetry? Do you see the beauty? Neither of you is the same person you were when this began. The journey to each other has changed you both, and that's exactly what needed to happen. Because the connection that's trying to form between you requires more evolved versions of yourselves than who you were before. Divine timing isn't just about the right external moment, it's about the right internal readiness. And you're both getting there. You're both being prepared. The universe is working both sides of this equation simultaneously, and when the timing finally aligns completely, when you both arrive at the meeting point, it's going to feel like everything that came before it was absolutely necessary. You'll understand why it couldn't have happened sooner. You'll see why certain things had to fall away. You'll recognize the protection in what felt like delay. You'll appreciate the growth that occurred in the space between first noticing each other and finally coming together. I want to speak to the part of you that's tired of waiting, that's frustrated with the pace, that wants this to hurry up and happen already. I see you. I understand. And I want to tell you gently, what you're building here is worth the time it's taking. What's trying to emerge between you isn't surface-level attraction or temporary connection, it's foundation. It's something that can weather storms. It's something with roots deep enough to last. Quick isn't always better. Instant isn't always what we need. Sometimes slow is what ensures we get it right, what ensures we don't repeat old patterns, what ensures we build on solid ground instead of shaky foundation. Trust the pace. Trust the process. Trust that the universe knows what it's doing even when you don't understand it. Trust that divine timing is working in your favor, not against you. And remember, while you wait, you live. You laugh. You grow. You experience joy. You pursue purpose. You deepen other relationships. You become more of who you're meant to be. This connection is important, but it's not the only important thing in your life. Don't let it eclipse everything else. Don't let it keep you from the full, rich life you're meant to live right now, in this moment, whether this relationship has manifested yet or not. Your person received their signs. They know what they know. Now they're in the process of translating that spiritual knowledge into physical action, and that takes time. It takes courage. It takes overcoming fear and risk and the vulnerability of reaching toward another human being with an open heart. Be patient with that process, but also be patient with yourself. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to respond perfectly. You don't have to know exactly what to do at every moment. Just stay present. Stay authentic. Stay open. The rest will unfold as it needs to. Before I close, I want to honor those of you who've supported this space through super thanks. Your generosity allows me to continue creating content that goes this deep, that takes this much time, that explores these soul-level truths with the care they deserve. If this message touched something in you and you want to support future messages like it, that option is there. But mostly, I'm just grateful you showed up, you listened, you opened your heart to receive what was here for you. Now, let me close with this final thought, and I want you to really let it sink in. You are not alone in this experience. Thousands of people watching this video right now are going through something similar. Someone out there asked for a sign about them, received it, and is processing what to do with that information. You're part of a collective experience of souls finding each other, of divine orchestration working through human lives, of love trying to emerge in a world that often makes love difficult. Take comfort in that. Take strength in that. You're not crazy for believing in this. You're not naive for hoping. You're not foolish for trusting. You're part of something ancient and sacred, the dance of souls recognizing each other across space and time and circumstance. Your ancestors understood this. They lived with a sense of divine timing, of fate, of meant to be. Modern culture has tried to make us rational away magic, to explain away mystery, to control what's meant to unfold. But deep down, your soul knows better. Your soul remembers that some connections transcend logic, that some meetings are written in stars before they happen on earth, that some loves are guided by forces we can name but never fully explain. You know what you know. Trust that. Even when others don't understand. Even when it takes longer than you want. Even when it looks different than you imagined. Trust the knowing in your bones that says this matters, this is real, this is worth whatever it requires of you. And know this with complete certainty, if this connection is meant to be, nothing can stop it. Not distance, not timing, not fear, not past wounds, not external circumstances. If this is a divinely orchestrated union, it will happen. The universe doesn't show people signs this clear only to let those connections dissolve. When the spiritual realm confirms something, it's setting forces in motion that will absolutely manifest, maybe not on your timeline, maybe not in your way, but it will manifest. So breathe. Release the tight grip of anxiety and control. Open your hands and your heart. Live your life fully right now. Love yourself well. Trust the timing. Believe in the magic. And watch how the universe continues to weave this story in ways that will eventually make you look back and say, oh, that's why it had to happen exactly this way. Your person asked for a sign about you. They received it. Now both of you get to walk the path between revelation and reality, between knowing and experiencing, between spiritual confirmation and physical manifestation. And sweet friend, that path leads somewhere beautiful. Keep walking. Keep trusting. Keep believing. The universe has this. And so do you. If this message found you at exactly the right time, drop "divine timing" in the comments. Let's create a space of encouragement for everyone walking this journey. Your words might be exactly what someone else needed to hear today. And remember, what's meant for you is already making its way to you. Trust that. Believe that. Live from that knowing. Until next time, hold on to hope. Hold on to faith. Hold on to the beautiful truth that you are deeply seen, profoundly valued, and absolutely worth the wait.